Welcome, Reds, to the 100% United pod. I'm your host, TC, and back alongside me today is co-host Scott. How you doing, pal? Been missing in action for a week or two.
Yeah, sorry, mate. I thought I'd just take a few days off. I thought,
I was calling you, trying to get you to do a pod. Couldn't get hold of you, Scott. Where were you?
International breaks, you sometimes you stay behind and you do some training, or sometimes you just go and take 8-9 days off. So I thought, the results have been so bad recently, TC, that I thought, I might as well just go and take 8 days off.
There you go, mate. Did you enjoy the international break? All jokes aside.
No, I didn't.
No. Why not?
No, it's been horrific, hasn't it? Come on.
I thought it was delightful. The international break.
It was nice to get away, but the longer it went on, and the more you realise we weren't going to sack our manager, the worse it got.
That is a sorry state of affairs, but it's true. Anyway, on today's post
by the way, guys, I was just completely joking about that.
You've been working, haven't you, Scott?
Yeah,
I can't just have a 9-day holiday.
I have been working hard. I haven't just had a 9-day break. I was just making fun of the current situation that we're in and how mental that is.
Exactly, mate. Well, listen, on today's post-game show, we will give our instant reaction on Manchester United's latest debacle in the Premier League. This time, it's Watford's turn to spank us out of the park. 4-1 at Vicarage Road, Scott. I mean, look, we said before the international break that it was bad. We've come back. We've been given sound bites all week that the players are going to come back. We're going to be like a wounded animal, blah, 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 blah. And we get served up that. Well, I don't want to describe it this early in the pod, Scott, because it'd be turning the airwaves blue. But I mean, just diabolical today.
Yeah, it was. But honestly, TC, did you honestly expect anything else? Truly, it was either going to be this, or we were going to come out with a result like Spurs, which I've said to you off air is the worst result we've had all month in the last 6 weeks.
Well, yeah. I mean, realistically, mate, I thought it was a good possibility that we wouldn't perform again at Watford. I mean, I know you joked at the start of the programme, but I will say, Scott, I've been absolutely furious about this whole going on holiday thing. I mean, Ollie's jumped on a plane back to Norway. You got random players have been off on holiday. Some players have been in the training ground. It's so amateurish. There's no rhyme nor reason to be in such a disastrous position as Manchester United Football Club's manager and leader, and to hop on a plane and toddle off to Norway. On top of that, Scott, all the players that he left behind are all players. If you look through the names, you got Dean Henderson, you got Wan-Bissaka, you got Tellez, you got Van der Beek, you got Sancho, you got Lingard. I'm sure I'm forgetting one or two.
Greenwood.
There you go. They all
Rashford
are left behind, and well, I wouldn't include Rashford, but they all have been dropped from their international teams, right? They all were regulars, and now they've been dropped because they never play at United. Simple as that. So not only has Ole gone away, but he leaves all those players that he hasn't shown any desire to improve or to integrate into that first team, and they're told to go on holiday too. So when you're faced with that, and you see training pictures for the first time on the Tuesday before the Saturday game against Watford, you certainly think, have we prepared as well as we should for this game?
But also, what kind of you talk about the players who didn't go away, but what kind of impression does it give to the players who did go away and have to go and work hard on international duty, like Ronaldo and like Bruno, and they turn around like, bloody hell, this guy's just gone off for an 8-day break. The day after, huge smiles on the runway, a bag just full of training gear, right? I mean, sorry about that. Bag full of training gear, couldn't fit anything else in there, and just off to have a little break. And it's just mad because you think about the Man United that he's trying to replicate under Fergie, and if Fergie had lost but to Liverpool and Leicester, it's funny that the Liverpool result was so bad that people ignore the Leicester result the week before. But if we had gone through a month like that, do you think Fergie would have gone off to Scotland for a wee holiday to do some fishing?
Absolutely no chance, Scott. Absolutely no chance. And you know what? People are always saying about this replicating Fergie. Well, if you're replicating Fergie, you're doing a bad job, because Fergie was the king at reinventing himself, reinventing the team. So whatever you're replicating from 2007, 2008, Fergie would have changed if he was still boss now. He'd be doing something different. He would have moved with the times. So this whole thing of looking back is nonsensical anyway when you're talking about a manager who managed to adapt to different styles of players, different characters. Like Ronaldo treated Ronaldo totally different to how he treated the star players back in the 90s.
But you've also got to replicate the whole story. You can't just replicate the glory years. It took work to get there. He had to come in and do a complete rebuild and completely get rid of this whole drinking culture that was rife with United in the 80s. And,
well, the worst part, Scott, is that Ole said that, after a defeat like that, obviously the first thing you want to do is get back on the training field. And I'm thinking, what are you talking about? No. You hopped on a plane. You could have been on that training field. Yeah. You could, and there were players today who weren't on international duty, who were relied upon today, and they've had a week less instruction and training.
Honestly, TC, he could have just gone in the office and played Football Manager. He could have done anything else but hop on a plane and
crazy.
Get himself out of the situation for a week at least. And the worst thing is that he's like, "Oh, I'm in direct contact with all the players. I'm on Zoom chats with everyone." Like, in other words, saying, "Well, I don't really do that much that when I'm there anyway, so I can do it remotely anyway. So what's the big deal?"
Yeah, it stunk of that. Other people aren't taking the situation as seriously as we are. We know how bad this situation is. And Scott, I wish we didn't have to do this today. I wish we could just talk about a new era and whatever else, because I said it after the Liverpool game. That was the end. The writing was so firmly on the wall. That was the end. That was when we should have made the move.
That was the end. Part 3, TC.
That was the end that unanimously people can agree. I know. Different people had different thoughts as to the time frame, but unanimously after that Liverpool game, it was so bad.
There was no way back.
Yeah. So that was the time. We waited. We got away with it. Of course, we beat Spurs. We got a point in the Champions League.
Great
lost
result,
to City.
Apparently.
We still could have made the move after City, and that was that's what I said on the pod. That was our last chance. That was the golden chance to save the season. Now we're another 3 points behind. Chelsea have won today 3-0, and we're another 3 points behind. And not dropping 3 points against City. This is dropping 3 points against Watford and getting pwned 4-1. So
this is the same Watford who haven't scored 7 of their last 11 games. Mental, right?
It's the biggest ever defeat in the Premier League that we've had against a promoted side.
Oh, these records, they just keep coming. How many? If Ole was Watford manager, how many times during that game do you reckon he would have been sacked?
During the game, yeah.
Do you know how quick they are with their managers?
The joke would be on him because he always checks his iPad, wouldn't he? So the notification would pop up in the top right-hand corner. So,
and what I meant earlier with what I said was the Spurs result was the worst one, because if we went there and got beaten 3-0, they wouldn't have sacked Nuno, and there would have been such a great alternative. And all this nonsense about, oh, well, if Conte comes in, he's just going to rip it all up, and he's too, he's got his own ways, and he's just going to want to. Well, Fergie was exactly the same. He came in and did what he wanted as well. And
and the volatility of Conte. I mean, exactly. Fergie was very volatile too.
Well, the passion. It's just
and
passion, mate.
Ole's ripping it up anyway now for everyone to see. So it doesn't really matter, does it? This is getting toxic. This is getting. This squad is now going to have to be revitalised again. It's not a continuation like it could have been. So, listen, mate, let's get stuck into a bit of the game because we don't want to talk all night, do we, today? Dear me. Look, let's start with the lineup. David De Gea in goal. Went back to the back four. Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire, Shaw, Matic and McTominay in front of them. Bruno, and then Sancho, Ronaldo and Rashford as the front three. Of course, Ole has tried to shore up the defence, going for the back five, sort of 5-3-1-1 if you like. Back to the back six today. And it really was a back six as well. For the opening exchanges, you could really see that. I call it a detached back six because it's so obviously separate from the rest of the side. You got Bruno in the front three floating around, and there's that defined back six back there. What do you make of the lineup, Scott?
I was pretty surprised. Again, after the press conference yesterday when he said that there were no niggles. Oh yeah, by the way, Paul Pogba got injured for 3 months. which I found weird that he ignored. I expected to see Mason Greenwood on the pitch or somewhere. It only came out that he got coronavirus today.
Yeah.
I don't know if he literally got it today or if that was one of the small colds that Ollie was talking about.
And what about Eddie?
Yeah, but where was he? But
I'm getting severe Igalo vibes off the whole Cavani situation at the moment, mate.
Yeah, it's true.
And remember the hoo-ha we went in order to keep Igalo. Remember that? Yeah. It was like we almost missed the deadline, and then they said, "Oh, actually, you have to pay us a massive extra fee, etc., etc., etc." We got it across the line. Ollie was saying how brilliant it was. Never saw him again. Literally, after he signed that extension, never saw him again.
Yeah, you're right. He scored he scored one of the last games before the lockdown, and then never played again.
Beauty.
Yeah,
absolute scorcher. And Eddie is kind of the same, right? We bent over backwards to make him stay, help him to stay. He went off on that summer holiday, and now it just seems that either he doesn't get selected or he's injured, and we're already we're getting close to December now, Scott.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's very little rhyme. It's just, let's see how many defenders we can put on there. I was surprised not to see Donny. I mean, the reports in the last few days coming out saying Donny's been impressing. And I mean, I don't know who's coming out with this nonsense because that's the same old story. And fast forward a bit, he was the only bright spark that actually was on the pitch. So,
yeah, I mean, I wasn't surprised at all not to see Donny van de Beek in the starting lineup. I mean, he's played 15 minutes of Premier League football this season, Scott.
Yeah.
That is 10 times less than Daniel James played for Manchester United, and he left before the transfer window closed.
Wow.
Played 150 minutes. Donny 15. So of course Donny's popped that up today, but he's still not even half as many as DJ. So there you go. Look, it was a scrappy start, wasn't it, Scott? Very scrappy. And then on the 6th minute, all hell broke loose. Bruno Fernandes launched what can only be described as a Gary Owen, a landing just on the edge of our own box. Scott McTominay flew in. He sort of chucked his body, didn't he? He tried to not do it with his legs. He thought he might get away with it if he sort of got his torso in there and brought King down in that way. Unfortunately, the ref didn't buy it and pointed to the spot, Scott.
Yeah, clumsy, wasn't it? Pretty calamitous start.
Well, I mean, clumsy from Bruno, clumsy from McTominay, clumsy all round.
Yeah.
I mean, Bruno's pass was madness.
Yeah, crazy.
When you think about if you're playing that lower percentage pass, you want it to be like to create a chance, don't you? Or to potentially put someone through, not to sling it back to the defence. That lower percentage pass is just crazy behaviour.
I think it's hard to defend that, but it was I expected us to at least be in the game for longer than 3-4 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever it was.
Well, look, we did get a reprieve, didn't we? Because the penalty was saved from Sarr. David De Gea saving low down to his left again. The penalty king these days, Scott. The rebound was buried into the roof of the net, but it was flagged for encroachment into the box. What do you make of that, Scott? So
mental, ridiculous.
Go on then.
If we save the penalty, how is it going to be if their player encroaches? It doesn't make sense. Surely it should have been a free kick.
It should be a free kick to us, shouldn't it?
Surely. And then they want to say Wan-Bissaka. I didn't see Wan-Bissaka encroaching, to be honest, but maybe that's just me.
Well, because otherwise, I mean, I'm just thinking on the spot here. Surely you should encroach every time, right? Because if you score and you don't, and there's no rebound, they don't give it, right?
Yeah. Well, that's
so you might as well encroach because the only time where you'll ever touch the ball is if you've missed.
Yeah. I didn't understand it.
Weird. It was very weird. But look, it got taken again, and Sarr took it again. So quite often you can change. Of course, the first penalty is missed by someone else. I would tend to do that. What about you, Scott? Someone's missed one, unless it's like a Cantona, Ruud van Nistelrooy. I think you hand it over to someone else, don't you?
Well, if it was us and Bruno missed it and Ronaldo's on the pitch, what would you do?
Exactly.
Would you give it to Ronaldo?
Give it Ronnie for the rest of the season.
Well, I would do that with the manager, but I would. I really would.
Anyway, look, De Gea saved again.
But the same thing happened in Paris last year didn't it? Bruno got one save, but Naves was encroaching, and then he went up and scored the next one.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yes. Yeah, I do. Yeah. Look, De Gea did save again. Very nice. Nicely done. It was quite a tame penalty, to be fair. Shaw and Maguire, they made a hell of a blooming to do out of clearing that rebound, though, didn't they?
Yeah,
literally panic stations. All you had to do is just knock it away, and it was just the pair of them were almost sort of imploding.
Yeah, that's a sign of things to come. Yeah,
it was crazy. It was crazy, and then after the penalty, it was mayhem, wasn't it? For at least 10 minutes, just chances all over the place. Like we were getting cut to ribbons. Like it was
chances
going out
all over the place. I didn't see us getting any chances.
No. I meant for them. Okay.
Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry. I was going to say.
I mean, we threatened to counter-attack a few times, but then gave the ball away and gave away another chance.
Yeah, we threatened to get out of our half for a couple of minutes.
Yeah. I mean, we were very loose, you know. I don't know if that's Ollie's idea of front foot, but we were certainly very loose.
I mean, we just had 8 days off, most of us, right? Oh, having a laugh. But it was amazing. The away fans were loud, weren't they? Singing Ollie at the wheel.
Oh, God.
Sounded like there were 30,000 of them, TC.
Honestly, Scott, that was one of the most embarrassing things of today, wasn't it? When Liverpool are doing it or City are doing it, it's like, it's not great. But when Watford are doing it, and so early as well, and so to a man, it's just, we can't go on like this.
How must Donny feel? Because they've stolen his song, and now they're singing it against Ollie. He must be gutted. He's like,
McTominay was booked shortly after.
I have to say that we started talking just before kickoff, and just after kickoff, and you did say
just before actually. It was 5-2.
No, because you said it was
5-2.
Was it?
Yeah.
All right, but you did call that there was going to be a red card. So well done, you.
Thank you, mate. I just knew we've just been so tame recently, haven't we? We've been so toothless. I could just imagine the scenario where we go too far the other way and get a red card.
Yeah. And the reason I brought it up was because when McTominay got booked, I thought that
he's
was
the one.
I thought he was going to be the
too.
one.
Me too. And he could have been, couldn't he?
He probably would have been if
he really could have been
subbed. Yeah.
Josh King was caught again. Caught us again, and Maguire just got back again. We were stretched, weren't we? We were constantly stretched today.
Yeah, constantly. Yeah, but it's been like this for months, pal. Come on. I mean, it's been calamitous. Or this playing out from the back crap when we're not very good at it. It'd be different if Varane was in there, or it'd be different if we had history of being any good at it. Just hoof the ball upfield.
I just don't get it, especially when you're low on confidence and there is no way out. And sometimes we play it out and you look at where we are on the field, the different positions we've taken up, and you know there is no way out. There is no out ball. Even if we put the passes together, we'll end up going back and then we'll try again and we'll end up getting caught. So the Saar was almost
to play
in.
Against it, but think about how easy it is to play against. You got someone again. We're playing Ranieri, who's actually pretty good against someone who Watford had fired months ago would have beaten us because it's just so easy to play against. Just kick it out. You sometimes think, God, they conceded that. You know, we got that goal kick pretty easily, but then they're all over us, and it's almost a tactic for them. Just let them play out the back, and we'll be all over them.
Well, of course. I mean, but the mad thing is we've been saying this for months.
Yeah,
we've been saying it's quite obvious. I mean, what would you do if you were setting up against United? You would. I mean, the first things first is you make sure that whenever Wan-Bissaka gets the ball, he's got someone on him. Mm-hmm. You know, that's rule number one, isn't it? That is your golden ticket to get the ball back, to pressure that area at right back. Now that's number one, right?
And number two is get someone on Bruno, because without Bruno, there's just no function.
Supply line cut.
Yeah, and
of course, the minute it's fed out to Fred, especially if he has to turn with it first, you're straight onto him. And there you go, right?
All right. I thought you were going to say just let Fred do what he wants, and we'll get the ball back pretty soon.
Well, you can do that if you want, but it's better to press him. But look, Saar was almost in after Matic gave it away, and I would say actually with Matic in there, the ball retention is slightly better. With Matic and Donny in there, it was vastly better. So, and certainly more penetrative. But just a minute later was the goal, mate. Josh King, this time, of course, former United player, fellow Norwegian for Ole. And there you go.
I think there were four old United players in that team today, weren't there? There was Josh King, there was Cathcart, there was Ben Foster and Tom Cleverley. All players deemed not good enough for us. And if you look at that Watford team, none of those players were getting the first in the United, probably on the United bench either.
No chance.
And but yeah,
and it was easy, wasn't it? Just to the byline, back. It was a relatively weak shot. Daya sort of got his legs tangled a little bit. I'm not putting my finger at Dave for that one. I don't think it was so close.
What about how long Dennis was given to bring the ball down?
That's crazy. Just crazy, Scott.
I know. Slow motion.
But you know what, Scott? It's every week now, isn't it? So although we can go through everything with a fine-tooth comb, it is just, for me, it's almost not worth us talking about it. It's so obvious. All of this is so obvious. You know, I'm sure everyone listening, you all know this already. You know the way we set up. We know the faults. We know that the players are going to come out and say, "Oh, it's not good enough," or "We go again. We're going to try again." Blah blah blah, and then we just do the same thing the next weekend. So all of these things, you know,
we know it's not going to be good.
How many times, Scott, have me and you talked about how hard we have to work to carve out a cross or a chance, and how hard the opposition do? Right?
Too many. Yeah.
So we just do it again, don't we? Yeah, but you're right. Yeah, Dennis did have. Yeah, of course he had loads of time.
Well, up until that point, that was 29th minute. They had 7 shots, 5 on target. We had one on goal, 0 on target.
You know, one thing that really wound me up in the week, Scott.
Shots.
One thing that really wound me up was when Ollie was talking about how, in his press conference, he was talking about how, you know, sometimes you hit the post and it comes out, and sometimes you hit the post and it goes in, and you know that can affect, you know, your mood and whatnot. Yeah. And for me, this is crazy talk. If you hit the post and it goes in, it's a shot on target and it's a perfect shot. If you hit a shot and it hits the post and comes out, it's a bad shot and it's a shot off target. You know, the fact that the manager of one of the biggest...
DC. It's fine margins. Come on. Yeah. That's just luck.
But Scott, how many times have you hit the post today?
0.
How many times have you hit the post in the last 10 games?
Not enough that I can honestly remember.
But you know what I'm saying? So what is this hitting the post and coming out, or hitting the post going in stuff all about? What are we talking about?
Blind man throwing darts, pal.
It's crazy.
It's throwing poop at the walls and seeing which one will stick.
And it's just offensive as well. It's just offensive.
Because you've just had 8 days off, pal.
Crazy.
It's not as though you're in here work and we're seeing you work. You know, it's embarrassing. It really is embarrassing.
And he's earned more in those 8 days than most people listening to this pod will earn in I don't know, you know, but a long time.
I watch on NBC Sports. They give 2 hours of Sky Sports News every morning, so I try and watch that. And I tell you, who didn't go on holiday? TC was Jurgen Klopp. I know we don't like him, but he was there. He was there working. Thomas Tuchel was there working. He's top of the league.
Yeah.
But Ollie, no, mate. I've got to go and close on a property in Norway. It's a huge mansion. Got to go.
Honestly, I can't tell you how blooming furious I am about that, Scott. It, like, literally, you know, we're left with you know, our blooming footballing lives in misery, and we see the manager the next day as well. You know, not even go in the training ground, sort some things out, and have maybe 3 days in Norway in the middle. You know,
he thought he was getting sacked. He had cleared the calendar. Yeah, he thought, listen, I'm not going to beat City. They're probably going to sack me. It's probably going to be worse than Liverpool. I could book a private jet.
He didn't think he was going to get sacked, mate. Because look at him today.
Well,
look at him today. No, it's rubbish.
That plane was booked before the City game, right? So it's like win, lose or draw. I'm off. I don't care.
Maybe.
I'm going to take as much training gear as I possibly can.
Rashford was found with a quite sumptuous ball, actually, from Bruno, and Foster managed to pour it away. And Sarr just strolled through the midfield and our defence, if that's what you want to call it. Just so easy again. It was almost like the parting of the Red Sea, wasn't it?
Yep.
It was crazy.
I actually, there was a few times within a few minutes that happened. I don't know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, no, well, it was the big one. It was the big one, straight through the middle. Wan-Bissaka had a tidy volleyed intercept. I suppose it's always noteworthy because we don't make many interceptions, do we? So Maguire was back just a minute later. Do have to give him a bit of credit for this one. He got in with a great sliding challenge right at the death, and I watched the replay, and he started instinctively moving his arm up to appeal for the offside. Thought better of it, got back. He must have listened to the pod last week. Got the challenge. If he had gone full appeal, he wouldn't have got there. And once again, he was the man playing him onside. Sorry, so he wasn't offside. So well done for getting back, Maguire. But still room for improvement.
See, I wonder if that's why he. I wonder if that's why he changed his mind and stopped appealing, because he actually saw that the guy was offside. See, these days you don't need to appeal, mate. There's 100 video cameras that are going to put up lines.
That's what I said. Yeah,
it's ridiculous. You don't. Yeah, but
that's what I said. I said we should never see one of our players appealing for an offside ever again in that situation.
Yeah, you're right.
Because VAR will rule it out, and you're not phasing the linesman anymore. The linesman's not going to bite.
It was a good recovery challenge, but he was playing him. But I tell you, it was very easy to get past Lindelof, wasn't it? It looked like it was just a couple of yards. Unbelievable. Yeah, it was pathetic again. But again, if he hadn't been appealing, he might have got to the ball quicker. But yeah. It was a good challenge. I'll give you that. It was.
And the away fans were singing attack, attack, attack already. This is after 40 minutes. There was a double chance for Watford again. Josh King with a header, real golden chance for Josh King, actually. And then Sissoko lashed the volley wide on the rebound, well wide. But we were getting cut to ribbons, Scott, at will.
Yeah, we were. Yep.
And unfortunately, mate, it got worse because just on the stroke of half time, Sarr found himself quite out wide on the right-hand side of the box. Didn't need time to touch, though, and drill into the far side netting. And we were in all sorts of trouble.
Yeah, but that was just unlucky, because it could have just gone the other side of the post. It's just fine margins.
Well, that's it, isn't it, these days, Scott?
Yeah, it's a perfect... he could have missed. So it was just unlucky. That was just unlucky.
And Ole was sitting on the bench at this stage doing absolutely nothing. There was no movement whatsoever. I just don't get it. I don't get it. If he was there fighting non-stop, you could see the fight. He didn't go on holiday. He'd been working his socks off, and he's going bananas. I'd have so much more time for him right now.
Yeah,
but this toddling off on holiday, coming back, performing like that, not even reacting when we're going 2-0 down at Watford. And we've got, and there's still 4 minutes of that half. Nah, we'll sort it out half time. Don't worry about it. Forget the 4 minutes. Who cares?
Ridiculous.
Rubbish. And the Watford fans were singing "Sacked in the Morning" at that stage.
I was thinking that because Phil Jones said that 2 years ago, didn't he, at West Ham? Do you remember? Well, it was almost 2 years ago now.
What did he say?
Phil Jones was in the director's box. I think it was behind Woodward. And he obviously said "sacked in the morning," and Woodward was like, you're on camera, don't say anything. But that was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Or 18, and Phil Jones was saying it. Another one who's never played again.
Yeah. But half-time was blown on a corner. Always controversial, isn't it, Scott?
Yeah, but, it was funny how the Watford, they didn't really care. They had enough.
Yeah, a truly awful half after what we've seen in recent weeks. And of course, look, if you go on holiday, you come back and you get a good victory and you carry on, then, sometimes you get away with it. But if you go on holiday and you're 2-0 down at half time and you end up losing 4-1, I'm sorry, but it's not... everyone says Ole loves the club as much as we do. Those actions are not saying it to me. I'm sorry, they're not.
Yeah, it's...
That's the way I feel. It's the honest way I feel. I know some people are going mad and say, who do you think you are?
No, he's taking
I don't care. That's honestly the way I feel.
Yeah, he's taking the mick out of all of us.
You can't. It's just you can't go on holiday. You can't. And there's been no explanation. I was hoping there'd be some explanation of something that we hadn't thought about. Something maybe that is a bit sad that you had to go and do, or something like that. But nothing.
No,
just refreshed.
Yeah. And because on international breaks, some players, they go away and you come back and you just got to tweak a couple of little things. There's just a few little tweaks we got to make. Yeah. It's not as though we've just, we've won one game in 6 weeks. We got to tweak a couple of little things. Don't worry, you'll see. Don't worry, you'll see. Tomorrow, we'll be ready for Watford. Don't worry. And now, honestly, you got no excuse. I would still be furious if we had won 4-1. To be
Me
like,
too.
you still shouldn't have gone on holiday.
Me too.
This is embarrassing. It really is humiliating.
Yeah.
And now, yeah.
Look, I just point you in the direction of course, if you want to become a pod member, get over to patreon.com/United100. I think they call them slashes these days, don't they, Scott? I think backslash, they stopped saying that decades ago.
Yeah, but it always shows your age.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Backslash. Partridge
Partridge
might say. Patreon.com/United100. There's different membership tiers on there. Of course, you get on our Discord. Got some competitions and whatnot, so get involved with that. Of course, our partners over at vintageunitedshirts.com is your go-to place for classic Manchester United shirts, all absolute genuine. You've got your names and numbers from years gone by too. And of course, Christmas is coming up as well, so hopefully we'll have a little special, maybe a special competition, something before Christmas. I'll have a chat to Giles over there, but get over there if you want to get an old school Manchester United shirt, vintageunitedshirts.com, promo code United100, you get 10% discount across the store. Okay? So,
right.
Look, Scott, bit of a rarity. Normally, we do that at half-time, then go into second half. We had some half-time subs today, didn't we?
Yeah, that was surprising, yeah.
Double bubble as well.
Mm-hmm.
So Donny van der Beek and Anthony Martial for Scott McTominay and Marcus Rashford. What are your thoughts on the subs?
I was pretty surprised. I was happily surprised, actually. I thought McTominay's booking probably contributed to him going off. I don't think Ole would have liked to bring him off if he probably wasn't booked. I was surprised to see Rashford, but he obviously never plays 100% fit, so you can't expect him to play 90 minutes anymore.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it smacked of desperation, really, didn't it? It was, you're chucking on someone who you've played 15 minutes in the Premier League the whole season. However many games we played, 12 games or something in the Premier League, 15 minutes. And then you've got Anthony Martial coming off the bench. I mean, where's he been?
That was surprising.
It was just like, just what haven't I tried yet? No, Sancho on the right, haven't tried that yet. Let's try that.
Oh, the blind man throwing darts.
Yeah, it was. But as we've been saying for many, many weeks, that
fair play
one way.
to the kid. Yeah.
You what?
Fair play to Donny, though.
Exactly. And we have been saying this, haven't we? We have been saying you don't need two defensive midfielders against teams, and that Van der Beek can do different jobs. And he was, he came with a bit between his teeth, didn't he?
Yep. Instant impact.
Yes. I mean, there was a bit of Watford pressure, of course, at the start of the second half, as you'd expect. But Donny van der Beek struck after 5 minutes. It was Jadon Sancho danced past his man, providing an absolutely beautiful cross into Cristiano Ronaldo. Ronaldo up, cushioned header back across goal to Donny van der Beek, burying, grab the ball, let's go, boys, back in the game.
Was Ronaldo going for it? Who cares? But I wrote here, if Donny van der Beek is the catalyst for a turnaround, then what a story that is. Because here's someone that has been persona non grata for 16 months, 15 months, and just given 5 minutes. And the positivity that he brought as well, just moving forward and creating a link between. I'll be honest, Bruno hasn't been playing well, but he's undroppable, as a lot of them are, and he really did provide a fantastic spark.
He did, didn't he? He really did, and as you say, fair play to him. He has been cast out into the shadows, and it wasn't just the goal, was it? It was the all-round display, like you say, the body language. Maybe he's one of the players who did benefit from being away from the manager for a week.
Yeah, probably.
So but really, really good play. I mean, again, as I say, Sancho brilliant, and Donny grabbing that goal. So it should have been the catalyst. Although you must say, and of course, unfortunately, and I will reiterate this, I wish I didn't have to. Say bad things about Ole anymore. I wish it was already done, and we could just turn the chapter. But it was just another another thing that shone a light on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's mismanagement of this squad, because the fact that a player who he's played 15 minutes in the Premier League scored the goal and provided the spark that potentially could have got us back in this game, that doesn't shine a good light on Ole. It's another bad light.
Of course, 2 minutes ago you just said, "Where's Anthony Martial been?" And after 5 minutes of Donny, you're thinking, "Where's he been? Why has he been rotting away on the bench?"
But we didn't need the 5 minutes, did we? We've been saying it for weeks, and many United fans have too.
Yeah,
it's not rocket science. But look, we were back in the game 2-1. But King got in 3 minutes later. David De Gea save, just going wide. I think saved it with his feet, but it was just going wide. And then Van der Beek picked out Sancho down the right, and Sancho beautifully found Bruno at the edge of the box, and he just scuffed wide, didn't he? 12 games, no goals for Bruno Fernandes now in a United shirt. His longest ever drought.
Is that Premier League games or total games?
That's total.
Okay. That's as I say, he's undroppable, isn't he?
For United he is, but he's another one on the international stage who he's now been dropped, hasn't he?
Unbelievable. Yeah.
So he's now not, Portugal had that crunch game against Serbia the other day. He wasn't in the starting lineup, so that's another one.
Yeah.
For the collection. Right. So yeah, but Scott, this is what you pay a manager for. This is why you need a top manager, because Ronaldo comes in and the dynamic was always going to change with Bruno Fernandes. You see Bruno for Portugal, he's living in his hero's shadow. Don't forget, Bruno used to be, as a teenager, watching Cristiano Ronaldo. Look at the ages, and you realise that as Bruno was a teenager, Ronaldo was leading his country to glory. This is when Bruno's a kid. Mm-hmm. So you pay the manager, you get the top managers in to manage this, to sort out those relationships, to still get performances out of Bruno while getting performances out of Ronaldo, while getting performances out of so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so. That's the manager's job.
Yeah, but we've said it for a long time, but it's he's had trouble. He's had trouble dealing with big players in the past, and then you bring the biggest player in the world in, and it's not rocket science that he's going to have trouble managing him.
Yeah. Look, Foster touched over from Cristiano Ronaldo. Guess who played Ronaldo in this time?
Unreal. What a ball.
Who played the ball?
Donny.
Again.
Unbelievable. What a pass. And so how it's one of those passes that happen against us and you're like, bloody, how easy was that one pass? Yeah. And finally we had a player that...
Because we don't have midfielders looking for that pass, Scott.
Yeah.
That's why.
And Ronaldo, the movement from Ronaldo at the front was...
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And Foster touched it over his shoulder, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. He did.
I think he did.
Save.
Pardon me?
It was a good save. I couldn't believe Ronaldo missed, because that second when he's through on goal, you're thinking, all right, this is 2-2 now. We got 20 minutes. It's a split second, and then when it's surprising.
Yeah, he's an interesting one, Ben Foster, isn't he? Back in the day, he looked like he would be the heir to Van der Sar, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. He did
long ago.
I
still think it was that injury, that knee injury. Remember, he got chipped at Celtic. And I just felt he'd lost a bit of spring. I never thought he's quite the same goalie again. I'd love to ask him about it. Actually, I must say with Ben Foster, when he went off to West Brom and he was saying, United, they were too cutthroat. It was too, it was almost too much of a winning mentality. I always poo-pooed him a bit. I slagged him off because, I'm United through and through. What United do is the best. But I must say I've warmed to him. I do like his podcast. He's quite a nice guy, isn't he?
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah.
Obviously,
blooming good podcast. So he's flown past us with the numbers after a few months, the bugger. Unbelievable.
Yeah, pretty good on the bike as well, isn't he?
He is. And he does have a GoPro in the corner of his goal, doesn't he? So he has got a few props that we don't have. But fair play to him. I do like his stuff. So there was a naughty pass from Anthony Martial through to Cristiano Ronaldo. He was almost in as well, just not nicked off him at the end. But it was just a glimmer of what Anthony Martial can do when he's on some kind of form once every 6 months.
And also a glimmer of what he could do partnered with Ronaldo. So many of these players playing with Ronaldo, we got to find the right combination. And
when you think of a combo, you think Martial and Ronaldo could be potent, couldn't it?
Well, if you think about before lockdown, him and Bruno, or during lockdown as well, him and Bruno were just on that same wavelength. That Cristiano's, I mean, he would definitely be up there too, wouldn't he?
Imagine the press though, Martial and Ronaldo up front.
Not too good.
Harry Maguire picked up a yellow, hauled down Sarr on the edge of the area. Ole actually in his post-match interview said that the second one was a booking, but the first one wasn't a booking because he thought Sarr was offside.
Was he?
That's what Ole says.
But was he offside though? I didn't see it.
That's what Ole said.
Yeah.
He's on the iPad, isn't he? So I bow down to his superior technology. Van der Beek went in with a cruncher, not for the first time, on the 65th. I was a bit worried there, Scott, I must say. That if that was a dirty player doing that challenge and the crowd go wild, he could have been in a bit of trouble because he did wipe his leg out, didn't he? It was just lucky. It was like shin on shin, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was you're right. A player with a bit of reputation doing that. I think Pogba doing that might have got sent off.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Because there was enough. It was dangerous enough because you can. The problem with that, so is it dangerous? Well, you look at Sarr, he's down injured. I mean, it definitely was dangerous, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
100%.
Yeah.
So
and these days, when you freeze frame stuff and slow it down, every tackle looks dangerous.
Exactly, and that would have been the icing on the cake, wouldn't it? The icing on the on the despicable cake. If Van der Beek, after the way he came on, got a straight red, it would have just been a shocker. So Nemanja Matic pulled a shot wide.
Can I ask the Maguire first booking? What do you make of Maguire's reactions when he gets called back for fouls? Because he was like, "What? I didn't do anything." But then you look at the replay and he's manhandled him so obviously, so close to the box. I mean, to me, it beggars belief that you can turn around and be like, "What? I didn't do anything." I get it for like innocuous little challenges, but not something like that.
It just looks gormless. That's
does.
the problem. Like, you know, I'm happy for our players to be like Keano or Rooney, where you just go mad at the referee. You know, you're actually spitting bile at him. That's fine. Also, I like the Giggsy approach, where you're just sort of like, you know, furrowing your brow and saying, "You ref, I don't understand. You know, can you explain this to me?"
Yeah, you're right.
Don't mind that at all.
Great.
But the Scholesy, you know, like, you know, I'm just an innocent little kid. What can I do? You know?
I didn't touch him or just.
But the Maguire one, it's like he's dishevelled, right? It's like he's losing it. He's like out, like dishevelled. It's not a positive look. You're not inspiring the people around you with that behaviour.
It's like he's got caught with his pants around his ankles.
Yes,
and he's just like, you're right, deer in headlights look of just, yeah. I'm not doing anything, but your pants are, yeah. I
don't know where you're going there, Scott, but,
no, but it kind of annoys me because it's it's not the image that you want a captain to portray, right? And again, I get it if it's an innocuous little challenge but this was so obvious, and there was no one else. You know, it was ridiculous. And then what? 3-4 minutes later, 5 minutes later.
Yes. What did you make it on the international break, Scott? We had the Maguire scoring, didn't we? And then celebrating with the fingers in the ears, and it has divided opinion massively. You've got ex-players, some of them backing Maguire, some of them slamming him. What did you make of it, pal?
I mean, he scored without, you know, I don't know. It was embarrassing.
I wanted to
make a joke about him defending without his eyes, but I can't be bothered.
I thought it was rubbish. I thought it was a rubbish celebration, and I must say that it obviously was directed at his United form, because he went for his ears before the knee slide, and then thought, no, actually, I'm going to do the knee slide and then plug my ears then. So he actually went and then went again, and I'll tell you the truth, Scott. The United Instagram, they can sack them as well when they sack the coaching staff, because they've been winding me up recently as well. You know,
work hard, play hard.
Work hard, play hard. First post back, right?
Yeah.
No, just work hard.
I never do it, but I had to comment on that, and I said something like, "Work hard, play hard. You're having a laugh. How about just win a game?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got that. You got that on the blooming Instagram.
Ollie still wasn't there that day. It was the next day that Ollie came back.
And then you've got them posting like bigging up Maguire for scoring for England. Couldn't care less. Couldn't care less at this stage. If we're flying, if we're competing, I'm always all over the international Reds. I want to see them score and I want their confidence up, etc., etc., etc. It's gone too far. I don't think the powers that be and Ollie and everyone is gauging how far this has gone. You know, this run, we will look back on this run in 20 years' time, Scott. It's that bad. We will remember this run. It's that shocking. Bad.
Yeah, it's worse than the run that sacked Mourinho. It's worse than probably the run.
I still remember, Scott, when we got spanked by Newcastle and Southampton within a few days. Remember that?
5-0, 6-3.
Awful, absolutely awful. But we weren't playing disastrously before and losing points like they're going out of fashion or after.
It was a blip.
We reacted in the correct way, right? But I still remember it. Still hurts. But it's 1996. You know?
But those were little blips on them.
We were champions. I still remember.
I remember going to Stamford Bridge and watching Chris Sutton score and losing 5-0.
Oh, God.
I remember going away and I remember going to Wembley and going to Highbury in the same 99 season and watching us get beat 3-0 both times.
But now we're talking about 4-2 to Leicester, 5-0 to Liverpool, 2-0 to City, 4-1 to Watford.
This is bad. This is no bollocks. Let's go back further. We got 1-0 home to Villa, 1-0 home
who haven't won this season away from home since.
Lost to the young boys, lest we forget. And all this. Oh, but we've done so well. We've only lost one away game.
Did you draw at Southampton in the end?
What? Yeah, we did.
We just drew as well, didn't we?
Mate, we just drew we just beat Villarreal. We just beat Atalanta. We just drew last week at Atalanta. We lost Europa League finals. Is that not an away game? We lost to Leipzig last year when we were, or Istanbul a few weeks early when we were free and clear of that group. We'd beaten Paris. We'd beaten Leipzig 5-0, and then went and lost to Istanbul. Doesn't count as an away game, apparently.
It's just so annoying, Scott, because we saw it coming. You know, you could see everyone was talking about progression, rebuild. It's the new progress, isn't it? Remember, people used to call about trust the process. Remember that?
Yeah.
It's what all managers who aren't doing a good job people end up using these words to try and defend them, basically. Now look at us, like we said if we keep on trying to tiptoe.
Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, if we keep on trying to tiptoe and catch people, what happens is suddenly other people improve. For instance, Chelsea, right? We were going, we're catching, we're above Liverpool and we're catching City, but as we've been told by Ollie now, we only caught Liverpool last season because they had an injury crisis. Can't believe he said that either. Negated now we've got Chelsea to contend with.
Yeah,
and Spurs have got Conte.
They're going to finish above us this season.
Tell you what, Scott, Aston Villa are 3 points behind us.
Oh, it's funny, isn't it? Because the three new managers went into the first games today. Stevie C, Dean Smith, and what's his name, Eddie Howe. 2 of them won. 1 of them drew 3-3. So I mean, whatever happens, a new manager can add a bit of impetus. Even Norwich won. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Oh, it's embarrassing, pal.
Yeah. Look,
it didn't get worse. It got worse. Let's keep
going. Saar went off as well. So before we start saying that they got the luck of the green, rub of the green, and all the rest of it, Saar went off, and they'd already lost their centre back 10 minutes before. So on the 58th minute, or around that time, their centre back went off. Now Saar's gone off, their biggest threat. So it's not like they've got their number one team out. 1 minute later, Scott. Mystic Meg got it right again. Harry Maguire, he was trying to dribble out of defence, smashed into Cleverly, second yellow, red card. He'll be banned for Chelsea next week. Fantastic work.
Yep, probably would have been sent off even if he hadn't been booked. No,
should have. Yeah. Last man and a cruncher.
Would have been a straight. Yeah. Another. What did I do? I didn't. Gormless looking. Yeah,
ridiculous, mate. And I wish I wasn't right, but yeah, I could just see it coming.
And you called it. You called it from, as you say, 5 minutes before kickoff.
Yeah. So that was that, right? Maguire goes off. Matic goes into central defence. Bruno, deep line playmaker. And we are really up that creek without a paddle. Van der Beek, another beauty of a ball into Ronaldo. Slammed wide almost furiously by Cristiano Ronaldo. But again, Van der Beek. I mean, how many chances has Van der Beek created in this half? And how many chances has everyone else created in the last 4 or 5 games combined? It's
probably about the same.
Yeah.
Tell me he doesn't offer more than Fred or more than McTominay.
But again, it's just shining a light on this coaching side. I mean, it's Donny's second season, Scott. Yeah. It's sometimes I have to remember that. I think, he must have just signed in the summer, right? I mean, no, he's had a whole season before this one.
It's his second goal today. His first goal was on his debut, and he came off the bench as well. They were calling him Donny van der Bench after a month in September of last year.
And how many times have we said, look, half-time or get Donny on, something different.
Even when we were winning games, we could have brought him on to keep Bruno from burning out.
Yeah, well, of course. And these are all things that are accumulative. Another great cross from Jadon Sancho, I have to say, on the 76th minute. The way he whipped that in was so pacey. Ronaldo headed over, and actually, for his standards, that was a beautiful chance laid on for Cristiano Ronaldo. He'll be furious about that.
Unbelievable movement again before the cross came in, just to get a yard of space. I mean, the guy. That's what I mean. We're wasting him.
Yeah, and then just a minute later, ball threaded across the box. Van der Beek could have had a clumsy shot, couldn't he? But instead, a little feint, just slipped it into Cristiano Ronaldo. Ronaldo buried it. Unfortunately, it was obvious that it was going to be chalked off for offside. But Van der Beek providing that cutting edge again. And then Bruno Fernandes on the 79th. Free shot, 18 yards out. Totally skied it, didn't he? And that was the chance, wasn't it? That was a big. We had a few minutes there where we had a few chances. Then the Bruno one was the peak of that, and just not himself at the moment.
Yeah, didn't really get another sniff after that, did we? Not like that, anyway. Yeah.
No, well, I mean, we almost put through our own, didn't we? Aaron Wan-Bissaka was homing in at that far post, and he belted it behind. It was almost jumped behind the sofa again, Scott. And then Luke Shaw went down on the 83rd minute. I'm sure regular podcast listeners will have been thinking, I wonder what TC is going to have to say about this, because I must say, are you having a laugh? You get hit in the face by a football, and you go off.
I mean, I think some of it might have just been concussion protocol. Let's get one off
from a football.
But he did.
Come on.
He did get concussion from the City game, didn't he? Is that why he had to come off from that, or he was in the concussion protocol afterwards?
It's a football though, mate.
I know, but it was pretty square plumb in the face, wasn't it?
Mate, I used to play fly half in rugby, right? And and before that scrum half. So I used to love a good charge down. When you basically block their kick with your hands. So, you basically get smashed by this. But if you're charging down every week, quite rare, maybe once every 3 weeks, you get a rugby ball punted into your face from 30 inches away.
Yeah, but you're expecting it, so you're wincing a bit, right?
So Luke Shaw didn't see that cross coming.
I don't think
it was 10 yards away. It was rubbish, mate. So soft, and I don't care about the excuses. That is wimpy behaviour. So pathetic. Honestly.
It was only 2-1 as well at that time. So
football in the face. Yeah. God alive. Pathetic. Honestly, absolutely pathetic. And his performances since the summer have been pathetic as well. So,
I wasn't complaining too much, because if we got, but it was either him or Wan-Bissaka to come off. But it was funny. 2-1 down to Watford, couple of minutes to go. The one
get Delot ready. Fire up Delot.
Yeah, let's get a right back on.
Get the number 20 on there.
Yeah, because I've been talking for the last few days about how much I love Jesse Lingard, and how much he can offer to this team, and he's been training so well, and he's got such a good attitude. Let's leave him on the bench again.
And what I'll do is I'll bring Lingard on the 91st minute just to annoy him even more.
Yeah. Okay, so count that as concussion, so I can bring Jesse on, and
mate,
but let's
literally. Yeah. And it's I told you before, mate. I'm sure Ollie's on the old that old Mars bar thing that my old coach was on. You know, if you didn't play a minute, he'd give you a Mars bar, so he'd always chuck you on for the last on the 89th.
Oh, so he didn't have to give you a Mars bar?
Yeah.
What unbelievable. If
he could wangle it.
You have to say, billowing around Watford at this time was Ollie's at the wheel, and it was embarrassing. It really was.
And it was so loud and so consistent as well.
Yeah.
But look, Delo did come on for Shaw. He probably was going to come on for Wan-Bissaka before, but Shaw went down with that. Oh, dear me. I'll leave that there.
Do you think it was sentimental, though? Do you think Ollie was like, listen, 2-1 down. I'll tell you what this needs is the number 20.
But it maybe if he hadn't brought on Lingard, but then he brought on Lingard, so the number 20 won't be his last sub. Lingard probably won't be either. So, but on the night,
he said to the guy, "Listen, bring on number 20," and then Delo appeared next to him. He's like, "Oh bugger! I was gonna strip off and come on myself because I tell you, I would have preferred that."
It's so sad, Scott. Honestly, it's so sad that it's come to this state of affairs. Like, for all the listeners, of course, you know you've listened to us for a few years now. Some of you are new or whatever, but we have always been very serious about United, haven't we? You know, we will have a chat and a laugh and a joke and whatnot, but we do take it seriously. We are mad fans, and the fact that it's come to this, that we're just sort of the only way we can react to this is by expressing our opinions and chucking in a few stupid jokes as well. And even when the match was on today, you know, we're sending each other voice messages. Normally it's serious stuff, but I suppose if it doesn't seem that everyone else on the field and off the field is taking it seriously, I suppose why should we?
I think breaking point was a few weeks ago, wasn't it? And we're sort of in the grief process and the mourning process, and now we've reached a bit of acceptance. And I can't believe he hasn't. I don't know. I can't believe he's still in a job. I've been saying it for weeks. You know, I can't believe he was given a new contract after we lost a Europa League final.
It's madness.
So pathetically.
It's madness.
Especially when he had a year left. You know, it's not as though his contract was up in a few weeks. He had 1 year left, and it's like, right, this is your final year. Let's go and really give it a good go. Let's give him another contract, and he can go and swan off on holiday when he's had the worst month of his, you know, and all this. Oh, we've been in this crisis moment 3 or 4 times now. That doesn't make it any better. You know, are we just going to chalk this one? All right, another crisis. Let's see if he changes it next week, because I don't know if he's going to play 5 at the back next week because he's not going to have Maguire.
Yeah.
So I don't know what other tactics he's got.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be totally frank with you, Scott. I wanted to go on a beautiful hike today. Lovely 15-kilometre hike, just, you know, up in the hills, see a bit of the ocean, have a lovely walk. Beautiful day today. But first of all, you know, I always watch United. You know, I always watch United because if you stop, then you're picking and choosing, aren't you? And I will always support that badge. Yeah. I'll always support it because I know that one day we will be back, right? But logically, I would add a way better day today if I'd gone for a hike.
Probably, yeah.
Oh, no, 100%. I would have. Yeah. I would have. Yeah. It was crap. I'd just been watching a rubbish match, and now, and look, I love talking to you guys, and you know, I love doing the pod, but now I'm having to repeat the same nonsense I've said for weeks now against a guy that I actually like. It is just, I just, as I say, I wish I could go for a hike, but I can't.
It's gone on too long now, hasn't it? Because we've. It has.
And unfortunately, the match went on too long, Scott, because João Pedro was in for a third. Could have been fourth on 94 minutes, and then it was 4 on the 95th from a Ben Foster goal kick, just to add insult to injury. I think the same thing happened at the end of that first season, the honeymoon period, right, against Huddersfield, Scott?
Yeah, we lost away and then lost.
Remember, there was a big old goal kick, I think, and we conceded from it.
Yeah, you're right.
I think so.
Yeah.
And so 4-1.
But Ollie said afterwards that we'd just given up by then.
Yeah.
So it's all right. But it was weird because at 89 minutes at 2-1, I thought to myself, this isn't bad enough to sack him. He can still squirm out of this. But then 5 minutes later, 4-1, I don't think he can get out of this.
Yeah, so Ollie did go over to the away fans after the game. He was giving it a wave, a sort of apologetic, hands up. And there were many V signs, swearing, boos from the away fan. I've seen footage from inside the away end. So I can categorically say that there was definitely stuff chucked his way, metaphorically. And Bruno, of course, came over and started saying, don't slag him off, slag all of us off.
Yeah. Rubbish again.
What's that?
Rubbish. That's rubbish too, pal.
What, from Bruno or from Ollie?
Yeah. Everyone.
Yeah.
I can't. It's just bollocks. Absolute bollocks. Ronaldo wasn't anywhere to be seen, was he? He's had enough. Ronaldo must be thinking, what the hell have I done?
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, it's great work if you can get it though, Scott, isn't it? You know, you just mess it up. Just mess up every time you go into work. And then just at the end of the day, just go, sorry about that. But tomorrow, I'm trying. I'm going to do a great job. Okay,
I'm trying.
And they go fine, no problems.
I'm trying. I'm
working hard.
Yeah, we're all working together.
Oh, by the way, I've got that holiday book
Same
next
direction.
week. You haven't forgot about that, have you? Yeah, just so remember that one.
Wait, you're going to take? But we just lost. We just got completely decimated by City at home. You've got about 15 players who aren't going on international duty. You really think this is the best time to take 8 days off?
We're closer to the relegation zone than the top of the Premier League. 4 points from 21.
Yeah.
Biggest ever defeat by a Premier League side that's been promoted the year before. And like I say, Scott, we're 3 points ahead of Aston Villa, who thought their season was going so badly that before this weekend they sacked their manager. 3 points behind Manchester United.
Yeah. How much worse?
Although it did open the door to a very funny moment the other day, didn't it, Scott? When the Daily Mail put up the yellow ticker that Dean Smith had been appointed as the new Norwich manager. And I was so shot to pieces by this stage that I, for a split second, thought it said Delia Smith. And I thought she had appointed herself. Oh, it was unbelievable.
But honestly, in that same second, you thought, I'd still take her over Ollie.
Oh, mate. Well, she does cook a bloody good pie, at least, you know.
Good Yorkshire puddings. Can you imagine?
Imagine those post-match meals. Fantastic. Anyway, mate, yeah, so look, we did wait, didn't we, after the match today to hear what Ollie said in his interview because, of course, after a defeat like that, you thought, and after the wave and the boos and the abuse from the away end as well, you thought he might fall on his sword, but there was no hint of that at all, was there, in the post-match interview? It was a sad moment at the end when he was asked, you know, how low are you? And he just said, well, let's say very, and look sort of almost desperate.
I know how he feels.
He did smile, Scott.
Of course he did.
But he apologised for smiling straight after.
Yeah. It's funny because he didn't apologise.
Oh, God.
He didn't apologise for the 8 other times he was smiling in the interview.
I know. I was like, he apologised 2 seconds. He's done it again.
Do you know what's funny is I saw the interview in bits, and the one bit that said, I'm sorry for smiling, I kept watching different snippets. I watched 4 different minutes of the interview and he was smiling and I was expecting him to say, I'm sorry for smiling, but he didn't say it. It was only the last one I watched.
It's crazy. Yeah. It was crazy, mate. But look, we have Villarreal in a matter of days.
It's a shame they didn't have the ticker at the bottom saying Watford 4, United 1, because that would have been good for the scrapbook. Because the amount of smiles we've got with a little ticker in the bottom saying either Arsenal 2, United 0, or
oh, don't worry, someone will get it up on the Sky Sports News or something, and they'll. We're a joke at the moment, mate. Well, think about it. Think we are joking about the situation a little bit at the moment because it's the only way we can handle it, right? think how much the other fans are joking about us. You know, if we're making light jokes of the situation, imagine the filth that they're coming up with.
Yeah.
We're a laughing stock, mate. We're an absolute laughing stock, and we're doing nothing about it. We've got Villarreal in a few days' time, and if I had to bet my life,
don't do that.
If I had to, okay, I'm not going to, Scott. Don't worry, you're not going to lose me yet. If I had to bet my life as to whether he would be or wouldn't be manager come the match against Villarreal, I would have to vote he will still be manager.
Yeah, he will be.
If I had to, that's my on it. If my life was on the line,
there's not enough time. It's the same thing with this match. It's hard to win a match when you've only had, 2 weeks to prepare.
I hope I'm wrong, though,
There
Scott.
wasn't enough time.
I hope I'm wrong, because this can get worse. Over the international break, I was thinking it can't get worse than Liverpool and City. It can. We can be out of the Champions League, and we can be further behind in the Premier League, and we can have more players wanting to leave in the summer because we don't have Champions League football, or because we've made them play in the Europa League, or because they're fed up of the place.
They're going to be out there. They're going to be out there in January. Lingard's going to be gone in January. Pogba's going to be gone in January, because they're going to say, listen, we're not signing contracts. And then the money men upstairs are going to be like, well, if they're not playing and they're not going to sign contracts, and we can get 10 million for them now, let's do that. And they'll be gone.
What about Jesse Lingard? So, of course, he posted something the other day, didn't he, of one of his West Ham goals. Bloody good goal too. Fair play to him.
Goal, yeah, okay, yeah.
But what do you make of that?
I feel so sorry for him. He should have stayed.
At West Ham?
Yeah. I feel so sorry for him.
He could have pushed for the move, couldn't he? And it seemed like he was. It seemed like, personally, I think you shouldn't be posting that when you're Manchester United.
Definitely shouldn't. But he's fed up. He's not.
Because that's a rival in the Premier League. It's not like Bruno posting something sporting or something like that. It's a rival in the Premier League.
Yeah.
For me, that's I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah. I'm surprised the United press team didn't post it too.
Yeah, exactly.
Repost it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look what Jesse Lingard used to do when he used to score goals.
He used to play, yeah.
They actually did show it. They did show that goal he did score at Watford a few years ago. Do you remember how easy it was back then when we didn't?
He was so good at that stage.
Oh, mate.
Wintertime, wasn't it? And he was just on fire.
Yeah.
Messi Lingard. Mate, I tell you what, who's your man of the match?
Donny van de Beek, obviously.
Big time.
Yeah, he was. I think Ronaldo didn't stop trying either. Yeah, you say Matic.
Hope for the future with Sancho.
Yeah, I do. I think so.
I'd say that.
He was positive. We'll say. I mean, he does play a few risky balls backwards that I don't think Lindelof doesn't need the ball back.
No, he's a street footballer, isn't he? In terms of style.
But he's not playing with players who are quite on his wavelength in terms of that. I do have to say, seeing the advertising boards going around and around, Watford's advertising the new football manager, Ole must have just thought, God, I should be just doing that. It could have been so easy.
Soon he probably will be the best paid football manager player in the world. But you know what? Like I say, mate, I wish we didn't still have to do this. It got so far past the stage that it should have, and now we're still, fumbling along. And we had, didn't we? We had the fan share scheme has been mentioned recently. Another thing to try and distract us away from what is actually happening. And it is all, and it's not like the fan share scheme is ready. It's like, it's probably going to be ready by the summer.
Yeah,
and you have to go through the MUST as well, which for me personally, I don't want to have to do that. If the shares are available, I don't need to be a member of any club.
It's funny you mention
Manchester
United. It's funny you mention that, because I was thinking this week. You think about the loyalty that a lot of people have towards Ole because of what he did in his playing career, but how that isn't really translated towards everyone. And you see Steve Bruce, like he was a fantastic, United captain us with our first Premier League champs. Surely he should be given an opportunity, but no.
Doubles.
Yeah, but there's some sort of loyalty. Or you look at Mark Hughes, right? Legend for United, but I think him going to City maybe ruined that loyalty.
100% it did. It ruined it for me as well.
But when you think about it, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was he's one of us, right? He signed up for the MUST. He was against the Glazers, and I think that was the loyalty that we craved, right? But when you think about it from the other side, how mental is it that the only person affiliated with United that signed up for the Supporters Trust is the guy that they hired?
It's a bloody good point.
That's mad, right?
Because we've talked about it the other way around, haven't we? We've said that it's
he was being loyal to us, but he wasn't being loyal to the Glazers. So when you think about it from their point, it's like, well, why don't we hire the one person who was against us?
Well, maybe the Glazers are actually cleverer than we give them credit for.
Well, because they think if we can turn him, then there's not going to be no one against us.
Well, I mean, the Glazers have certainly enjoyed an extra layer of insulation, haven't they, with Ollie at the helm?
For sure. And it only took him, a couple of days for him to be taking selfies on the pitch with them. You remember that?
Yeah.
How quickly he unsubscribed to the MUST emails.
Yes. Yeah, well, exactly. That is a good point.
It's crazy. But now you just think that, I don't know why they're being so loyal to him, given that he, showed his loyalties in the beginning. But obviously 9 million quid a year can change your loyalties pretty quick, TC.
Well, it can. I mean, would there be anything and this is pure speculation, I don't know. Would there be some kind of end of year bonuses potentially that could be affected by paying out north of 10 million quid to a manager?
End of 2021?
Pardon me?
You mean like December 31st, not end of season?
Yes, sorry. Yeah, that's what I mean. Okay. Sorry, and end of year.
Potentially. What do you think Woodward? You think Woodward said, "Listen, if you're still in charge by the time I'm supposed to leave, I'll give you an extra £1 million."
Well, he doesn't need to. He he doesn't need to tell him he's still being in charge. He just doesn't need to sack him, right? Yeah. He doesn't. Just carry on doing your job. It's fine. But there might be something in that. There might be. I mean, you would have thought the bonuses would be whoppers, and Woodward's coming to the end of his tenure, so that's one potential thing.
How are we supposed to show loyalty to someone who's just squeezing as much as he can out of it?
Well, I know. I mean, I've said this before, but the second thing, of course, is that you have the situation that I don't think that they have prepared for this situation. For me, as an institution like Manchester United, you should always have a shortlist, an emergency shortlist of managers. And it should be changed every month. You get the figures together and you plan
just to keep the manager on their bloody feet.
Scott, I've heard so much nonsense recently. I heard that we weren't talking to other managers out of respect for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. We should be talking to managers at all times, and the manager in charge of Manchester United should understand that we are being a professional club in talking to other managers. So that's number one. Second thing, I mean, Gary Neville. He is going down a big dark tunnel with this one. He's basically now said, right, that he will not criticise, and call for Ollie's head, right? We've all heard that. He's now recently in an interview said he shouldn't even have said that Karius was not good enough for Liverpool. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did.
So he was saying, I got into an argument with Klopp. I shouldn't have said he wasn't good enough for Liverpool. Scott, was Karius good enough for Liverpool?
Definitely not.
Exactly. So why can't you say it? Why can't it's another man's job? I mean, Gary, do you ever call for politicians to lose their jobs? I reckon he probably does.
What about his own managers? He's sacked 4 in 3 months.
I reckon if we look, he would call for politicians to lose their jobs or other people. So it's rubbish, and he's losing his credibility.
Yeah,
he's losing his credibility.
And let's be honest, he's a pretty. Only United fans like him. If you have no affiliation with United, you probably hate Gary Neville.
Yeah.
So now he's just burning bridges at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
It's nonsense because there's a way to do it, right? I mean, we've had doubts, Scott, since the end of the first season, haven't we? We've had doubts and we've lightly expressed things as time has gone by. We've never made any kind of campaign. We've never been jumping on these hashtags, anything like that. We've never wanted it to go anything other than brilliantly. But you can still communicate when things aren't going well. And you, as well, I think, are more than entitled to say that someone is not good enough for a job. I don't know why. I don't know why that's not allowed and disrespectful. I don't understand.
Well, they have such an easy time about saying someone's not a good enough player to play somewhere.
Yeah.
When he's going through, he was going through the team with Roy Keane about who's good enough to be in that United team.
Yeah.
He was very willing to say there are a few players who weren't good enough for that. But Ollie's his mate, and he's just showing his loyalty.
Ollie's his mate, but also, pal, we've got to get this thing out of our mind as United fans that we think we're going to find a manager that is going to stay for like 15 years, and we're going to like win, 3 premierships, and then maybe lose one, and then you win like Fergie. It's not going to happen, Scott. And if it does, brilliant. But we're not going to find it by giving everybody like 10 years, right? You don't just give everybody 10 years and hope one works. You give everyone a little bit of time. And if someone's amazing, you go, cool, carry on staying. Like Klopp, how long has he been at Liverpool now? It must be about 6 years.
Yeah, about that.
Doesn't seem like it, does it? It seemed like, it began with, he's there for 2 or 3 years, but it's going so well. Of course he's still there.
Yeah, but it took Liverpool to not win a league for 24 years to be like, you know what? We're so desperate, you can just do whatever you want. And he did come in. How did they come in and tore up the blueprint of how they usually play, and played his own way. And now they all bloody love him.
And how did they get Klopp? By sacking the one before him.
Yeah,
who also finished second, but with a higher points tally than
Aston Villa just sacked Dean Smith, and he was doing better than Ollie. And then Aston Villa actually showed more initiative than United by going for a manager who's currently employed. Why the hell do we have to go to the job centre to find a manager?
I know. I don't get it, Scott. I don't get it.
That's crazy to me too. And everyone was saying, well, now we're going to wait for Pochettino. But we had a chance before Pochettino went to Paris and he didn't take it.
And you put Pochettino's, he's not signing Pochettino 2 years ago would have been him on the up. Now there's big question marks.
Yeah.
There is simply big question marks.
We're in a point now that it's just anyone will do.
Zidane's the one, Scott. Zidane's the one.
He's learning English apparently, and
it should have been this week. And now, like I say, we're already another 3 points down. So this is going to be a continual thing. That the longer we go, the more we're going to mess up this season. And it is unforgivable, mate. It really is.
Well, now it just feels personal as well that he's just personally mugging us off because he had a perfect time to quit a few weeks ago after the City loss, after we got completely outplayed. He saw so obviously in front of him how much further he's got to go.
Yeah.
The result wasn't terrible. The 2-0 could have been obviously 7 or 8, but it was not bad enough for him to. He could have walked away and be like, well, we got better. We got beaten by 5 against Liverpool and only got beaten by 2 against City, so we must be doing better. This is the best time for me to go. I've already got a plane booked. I don't know how much more training gear I can fit in the bag. I'm going to go. But now he's, to come back and be like, well, don't worry, we tweaked a few things and we're going to be ready for Watford and we're going to, you watch, we're going to be successful. Well, you're not.
It's all like a parody, mate. Like I said to you the other day, it's like really living in a blooming simulation, and we need to change the blooming the software because it really is the stuff. Like I say, from the social media posts to the interviews to the performances to the substitutions, it's all like a parody. It really is. It's like it is. It's almost like it's designed as one big joke. It's so ridiculous now, mate. It's so ridiculous. I mean, I'm pretty sure, was it after the Liverpool game or the Leicester game when Ollie said, we can't stop now, we're so close.
No,
so close to what?
Liverpool.
What are we close to?
Yeah, we're so close. Yeah. We can't stop now because we're so close. And here we are. Yeah, here we are a few weeks later. We've got so much worse. And I'm telling you that Spurs result, if we got there and got beaten by Spurs, they didn't sack Nuno and Conte was still available, I think it could have that could have turned our heads.
It's crazy that Conte was available and then we just were not interested at all. No chance. We're right with Ollie. Fine.
Mate, you look at Watford. Ranieri was available a few months ago. I would have taken him every day of the week.
We don't need to take him, do we? That's just. I mean,
would have.
It doesn't. But yeah, sure. But we don't need to. We're Manchester United, mate. We can get blooming any manager in the world pretty much outside of 3 or 4. Anything else to add, mate?
No, except we usually sack our managers 2 days after the worst result, but in 2 days we have a game, and I don't think it's going to happen.
No, neither do I, unfortunately, mate. It is we are just plodding along, aren't we?
Yep.
It's just unbelievable, mate. Sorry state of affairs.
Yeah, I really don't know where we go from here. I don't know how much worse it can get, because we've got Chelsea next week without Maguire now, and probably without any tactics either. Back to Lindelof and Bailly. Paul Pogba's never going to play for us again. Yeah, so
it's shocking, mate.
It's not going well.
It's shocking. Anyway, let's go and have a nice weekend now, shall we?
All right. Yeah.
All right, but anyway, thanks for listening again, everyone. Make sure you subscribed to the pod. Of course, get over to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to the pod. If you want to become a member, get over to patreon.com/United100, and you've got the different membership levels there as well. And of course, if you just want to make a contribution to the pod, PayPal United100podcast@gmail.com. If you don't want to become a member, just want to make one off. And of course, use that promo code United100 at vintageunitedshirts.com. Across the store, you get 10% off. If you're a member, you actually get a few more perks with Vintage United too. So that's worth bearing in mind. And we will arrange something for Christmas as well. So keep an eye out for that. Follow our socials at United100 Podcast on Instagram and at United100 Pod on Twitter. And Scott, we'll be back. Looks hard and fast now. We haven't got a break until March. So we will be back midweek for the Villarreal game. And it looks like we will still be in the same situation.